as if we're, you know, starting from scratch.
Well, let's do a sound check. Give me
All right.
1, 2, 3.
All right. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. You are testing. You are shooting.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good. Clear.
And we'll go ahead and roll camera.
All right. Samantha. Samantha. Samantha, you're taking valuable seconds away from this video. All right. If one or more cats should stray into camera during this interview, because they are my beloved friends and I am their great friends. My name is Dr. Jaysen Rand. I live in the northwest corner of Mississippi in an old civil. There she is. I'm a cat person. I'll take a few minutes, and I even think the newest one is about to come up here. Listen, if you see cats, that's okay. Come on, buddy. Okay. I want to tell you a story that's affecting every single person at this moment as I speak. We are now at the cusp of going into a very important period for the planet. I want to tell you a little bit about what I think the future is going to hold for the planet. I'm going to tell you about a book we wrote, that book there. I need to talk to you about the reality of self, who you are, where you are, why you're here, what would you do if your life, your bottom dropped out, like has been happening across the country with earthquakes and tornadoes and now global earthquakes. I don't want to get too much into the, there he is. Okay, that's my newest one, that's Shadow. All right, Samantha, out of the picture. These two cats are, by the way, they are part of the cat union. They do pay their dues. Samantha, that a girl. This is the way the interview goes, folks. If you're compelled, if you're enjoying it, you're going to stay watching it. If you're not, you'll tune me out, whatever. Okay. By profession, I'm a radio, television, music producer. I've done entertainment projects. I've lived in Hollywood, and I've had the pleasure of working with some very, very sensitive and important people in the entertainment industry. So I'm also reaching out to all my friends. You know who I am, okay? We're going to talk to you tonight, got hopefully no more than 10 minutes, about this book. It's called Return to Planet X. I call it, and its effects on Mother Earth, it's a natural disaster survivor's manual. You'll see it says Wormwood, Mankind's Ongoing Legacy with a Brown Dwarf Star, written by myself. That's the Brown Dwarf Star. The whole purpose of making this video tonight was to share with you what I believe is going to be what the Mayans call the cosmic end of time. And what they mean by that is not the end of human consciousness or the planet disappearing or imploding. The planet mystically, metaphysically, and paranormally is going through a shift of its position with the Milky Way galaxy. Our planet and all of its satellites, its moons, its asteroid belt, our sun, and all the other suns in our solar system are all whirling in circular patterns, or what they call orbits, and they all move counterclockwise. No one knows why. All the stars in our galaxy rotate counterclockwise. Many of these stars are like our own, and many of them have habitable planets. There are probably, they think, at least 800 million Earths, planets, just like ours, some bigger, some smaller. We are very, very important in the cosmic scheme because what comprises the life force nature of this planet is extremely rare and extremely fragile. And it was an experiment, some people would say conducted by the gods. This planet was a planet of experimentation for geology and plant life and animal life. And I think that this could raise conjecture, but I think what happened was, I'm sorry, shadows in the camera. I think that we are entering a period for our planet at this time when it enters what's known as the Great Rift of our galaxy and its near vicinity to to the center of the Milky Way galaxy. We're coming in alignment. We're coming into a conjunction. It happens about every 387 million years. It gets to this point where our solar system is nearing, in its transit through space, nearing the center of the Milky Way galaxy. And as it does so, it's going to trigger many changes across every star system and every other planetary system. But we're mostly affected by what happens to our sun. So as our sun, as the center of our solar system, becomes affected by this interstellar exchange, we're going to be entering what's known as the Great Rift. We may or may not experience dimensional shifting, time shifting, and physical shifting, because as a human race, our existence, roughly 150,000 years at its earliest till now, has not yet to experience what I believe is going to be happening. It will affect everything, all plant life, all animal life, all human life, all sea life. And it will affect each and every other planet and star system, as well as our Milky Way galaxy, because as things move together, what we find is a blend of cosmic forces that are way beyond human comprehension or measurement. If I'm right, this brown dwarf star, which I believe was part of our solar system about 5.5 billion years ago, a large asteroid came crashing through the plane of the ecliptic of our solar system. You ever been to a museum? You look up on the wall and you see the sun and all the planets in their proper position, including the asteroid belt, all rotating in a counterclockwise motion. That is the structure of our galaxy. Now, our solar system is nurtured, and our sun is controlled by what we believe is a third star that was associated with our star system. And there was a small baby sun, what we think is wormwood. We believe that when this large asteroid came through the plane of the ecliptics, it smashed several planets, killed a few, probably killed Mars, probably killed Venus. One probably hit Earth, causing it to break up what was the original landmass called Pangea. Okay? Now, what does all this have to do with today and present? Well, it's coming back. It usually has a 3,600 to 4,000 year elliptical orbit way out into deep space. And when it comes back and returns, it's slingshotted back out again from behind the Earth, just like Apollo 13 was slingshotted back to Earth when it had its failed mission. Now, we believe that this is the same planet, but not really. It's a brown dwarf star. By the way, I didn't call it Planet X. Boy, he's going to want a lot of money. I'm telling you, kid, you're going to break my bank if I have to pay you by the minute. This phenomenon which we are about to experience can be found out about in antiquity. That's why we wrote the book. It's 342 pages, amazing chapters, past, present, future, what should have been, what could have been, what the government knows and doesn't know, what you need to prepare, how to get ready, and where you can find out where to get your supplies, including a discussion on guns. And my fear that if there should be a natural disaster, either here in the United States, let's say a major earthquake, or there are a series of major earthquakes, which is what I'm going to kind of say is what I'm expecting. We lose 2 or 3 major world global cities, you know, one on the west coast of South America, and one of our port cities, coastal. You take out a major city like London, earthquake. The possibility that your life, my life, could instantly change. You don't look at it from it being that bad. I don't. I do think that there's going to be a period, a very bad weather period. We're going through it now. We have been since 1982. By the way, as going back to 1982, that was the first time that the press started reporting that one of our infrared satellites called the IRIS satellite had discovered this dark, smoldering, ugly looking thing coming straight at us from deep space. And guess what they called it? They called it Planet X. It's in writing. It's all over the big news. And all of a sudden, they made the announcement, and then 24 hours later, it was over. It was finished. Everything was scrubbed. No mention was made of it until a year later. U.S. and News World Report broke a story that then went on to describe Planet X as probably being a brown dwarf star. I didn't create the story. The story was there. I just went after the story. And the story that I found is what drove me to write this book. And the more I looked at it, the more I realized I had it nailed, right dead head, dead on. Okay? Now, everything we've talked about in the book is true. You can test it, test me. Don't take my word. Read the book. I think that in the few minutes I have left, I simply want to say that this is a very important time for not only we as Americans in this country and our two close buddy continents, but it's going to be a time for all of mankind to suddenly be tested beyond resolve. If you want to get a capsule of it, just go to chapter 8 of the book of Revelation, which is the last book of the Christian Bible. Thumb over to chapter 8, verse 11. The quote is, "And the name of the star was Wormwood." Revelation chapter 8, verse 11. And once I put those pieces together, I had it. I nailed it by date, by time, by circumstance. And it was all there in a writing which I didn't expect it to be. I started out saying, come on, you know, we've been hearing about all this science fiction stuff, and suddenly, as is revealed to you when you begin to understand about the Gene Roddenberry theory of the world and creation, you begin to understand that wherever you see something burning and smoldering, no doubt there's going to be some fire there. And it's the same thing with this object. It's a small brown dwarf star. We think it was a little baby planet, a baby sun to the planets. We think that it was hit head on during this earlier mentioned collision, hitting it so hard it spun at 180 degrees out of its counterclockwise trajectory into a clockwise motion and trajectory, directly opposite. So every time it comes back against the collective good of the counterclockwise motion for everything in our system. So when it does come by, it doesn't have to hit us directly, it doesn't have to go through the solar system, it doesn't even have to come so close that you can see it. But what it's doing is it's affecting everything involved with our sun, because the two masses are opposing each other. The sun should be nearing or come to its peak at around July or August of 2011. And it's been very, very strangely quiet the last 4 or 5 years. Suddenly it's now erupted again. We're getting larger and larger CMEs. They're coming at us with increasing ferocity. We just had one less than 3 weeks ago of a nature that could fry things. If you look at earthquakes, volcanoes, tornadoes, windstorms, lightning, fire, drought, flooding, tidal waves, you begin to get the picture. We just had another series of earthquakes. By the way, you can find out, if you want to test me, just go to USGS, punch in your request to be notified every time there's a major earthquake 6 point or up, below or above. And if you really want to get upset, tell them to send you the entire picture of the global earthquake pattern, and you will begin to say, I think there's something wrong. And I think it's going to start in the Asian Pacific Ring of Fire. I think there's going to be a huge series of either earthquakes and or volcanic eruptions or both. They're already beginning. This whole thing it started with the big one in Japan. I'm not going negative on you. I'm not trying to scare anyone. Just look at the stats. Don't take what I say as gospel. Go to the internet, check it out. Check out earthquakes, volcanoes, storms, tornadoes, tidal waves, you'll find that all of these events are up, 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 up there. Sometimes as much as 3.5 to 400% than they were 10 years ago. We talk about that in the book. There's something going on. Everybody knows there's something wrong. Now we have this political thing coming up in November. It's going to be very critical. We're not going to go political. It's not the point. The point is to be clear what you understand and what you don't understand about what you're voting for. I'll just put it that way. All right? What happens with this vote in November, because if I'm right about the potential for there being a series of major global earthquakes, September, October, November of 2012, which means if one of these events happens just before our election on November 3rd, it would be the perfect opportunity, because if it's global, we could have lost 1 or 2 or 3 major cities, and all of a sudden, poof, in comes martial law. Everything is suspended. There could very well not be a legal reason to have an election. Everything is frozen in place, just like it is. For its impact on the rest of the world, if we lose even one major city on any continent, it would be a serious start of a decline of spirit and resources. Because if you lose one major city, you're probably going to lose 2, 3, or 4 more. All I'm asking is, we have plenty of reserves on the books. I will discount them. I'll sign them. I'll autograph them to you. I'll take your emails. Just go to the website, www.returnofplanetx.com, and you can get there go some books behind me. I got my little Black Panther back there. He's clawing some books up. I'll have a crawler at the back of this video and for contact information. I'm as real as they come. I wanted you to share this with you tonight. I had fun with it. I hope you enjoyed it. I do have several other videos out. This is my own production for YouTube. I have a brilliant producer and cameraman, and he'll be credited at the end of the interview. So once again, please take me seriously. This is a book that took 7 years to write and research. It was a labor of love. My wife and I typed every single word, did all the editing, we did all the design. This was a one-man, one-woman operation, and it's been the love of my life. So if you haven't read it, you can get it at any bookstore, Amazon.com. Jiggle me on the website, and we'll go from there. With that said, remember that every second you breathe now, this moment, is your passage into the future. And every breath that you've already taken, you cannot retake again from your past. Time can only go one way. That's the nature of evolution. With that in mind, good evening, good night. If you're in Sao Paulo, it's already dark. Good night. Thanks for staying with me, and just think about tomorrow. That's where you'll be when you wake up from sleep tonight.